Welcome to the New Flat Rate Podcast, a podcast for contractors who need help increasing their service tickets, creating working processes, and building freedom in their life. Today's episode is all about marketing. We talked with Crystal Williams, founder of Lemon Seed Marketing, about why you need a marketing strategy and why you shouldn't be scared of it. And now your host, Danielle Putnam.
Hi, my name is Danielle Putnam. I'm the president of the New Flat Rate. And today I've invited a friend of mine, Crystal Williams from Lemon Seed Marketing. She's the founder of Lemon Seed, and she actually has a great background in the HVAC industry. So she comes from a long line of knowledge in the trades. But I'd love to introduce you to Crystal and have her tell you a little bit about herself.
Sure. Well, I'm a hashtag trade baby. That's what I call myself.
Hey.
Only because, I grew up in this life of heating and air conditioning contracting, especially in the South. If you can't tell by my accent, I like to say I sound like cornbread. Just that Texas comes out quite often, but no, for sure. My family still currently owns and operates a 47-year-old heating and air conditioning company here in East Texas. My grandfather retired from the Navy, started a company. My dad bought it from my grandfather, and now my younger brother, bought it from my dad. And so we're still very much a part of those everyday operations. Lemon Seed office is actually in the same building that McWilliams and Son is in. And so I live the life of call centers and tech meetings still every single day. So I love it, though. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Hey there, quick reminder to stick around until the end of the podcast for Storytime, featuring TNFR member Stephen Washington, sharing how to change your office culture. You don't want to miss it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Crystal, I'm excited that you're here today. I know you have a wealth of knowledge to share with us. I'd like to take it back a couple years ago, more than that, because you've had Lemon Seed for 2 years now, right?
Right. 2019, October of 2019, right before the craziness happened. Yes, we launched. Yes.
Great time to start a business. I bet it was not stressful at all.
Not stressful at all. Yes.
Totally. Well, then maybe it was 4 years ago. I remember hearing you speak, and I sat with you at a roundtable event at a trade show somewhere, and it might have even been ACA. Like, it was a long time ago. And you were sitting there talking about all the things that you did marketing for y'all's heating and air company, McWilliams and Son. So that was before Lemon Seed. And I knew you were somebody to be watching when I first heard you start talking, because you were so in there and so passionate about what you were doing for your employees, for your customers, how you guys were marketing your business. And you were really on the ground floor working in the trenches, doing marketing for that company. And the writing was on the wall. The second Lemon Seed opened up, I was like, yep. Because I knew everybody at that table was staring at you like, oh my gosh, how do we do that too? Right? So, yep, she's going to be teaching people and doing it for them in the future. Gosh. It's like, it's in the future. I saw it on the wall. And then all of a sudden you had Lemon Seed Marketing. I was like, yep, I'm not even remotely shocked, which is wonderful. But that's what I know. So many people in HVAC, electrical, plumbing, in our industries, they love when someone like you has been there, done that, works with it, and is not just out in left field trying to tell everybody what to do with no experience.
Yes. I live that life, so my brother, I had decided back in the day that my days of working at the heating and air conditioning company were over. I grew up in the days of, so I'm 40, but I grew up in the days of where you used a radio to radio your technicians and tell them where to go next. And so we would base to 101. That was my grandpa's number. And so I lived that life all the summers, all the holidays I was working. And I just decided, I didn't want somebody to say, oh, your daddy let you be a part of the company, or, oh, your brother gave you a job. That's so sweet. I wanted to kind of make myself. So I went, got my degree in marketing, went to work for our local Coca-Cola bottler company here in Lufkin, and loved it. Learned a lot about just, being professional and how important it was. I got to have a front row seat to Coca-Cola marketing and watching a lot of that unfold here in little old East Texas. And so my brother calls me in 2014, late in the year, and he says, hey, I just bought a company in a town a little north of us, and I really think to go to the next level, I've got to get somebody in here that their main focus is all about marketing, branding, and employee retention, acquisition. and just community involvement. Like, are you willing to come and take that on? And my family gets along. We really don't have any kind of problem. So that wasn't really even on my radar to be concerned about. It was more concerned about my identity as a person. You know, who do I want to be? And I had kind of separated myself in a healthy way as far as, oh, well, I do marketing for, or I do pricing for this. And so I asked the Lord to give me like, you know, the good vision of what he wanted for my life. And so that ended up being where, I mean, it was a resounding yes in my soul. You know, I was like, so
Wow.
I told my brother and I said, you know what, let's do it. Let's do it. You know, because nobody's going to care about your company as much as you care about your company.
Yeah.
And so I knew I could do that. And I also knew, and I say this to contractors every single day now, I knew what Trey, my brother, what he needed was he needed somebody that he could trust to take marketing off of his plate. So he still wanted to be involved, and he still wanted that high level information, if you will, and the KPIs and the being able to measure it. But as far as being down in the trenches and picking through quality scores and all of that, he wanted to be the visionary, and I needed to be the doer for him.
Yeah.
And so that's basically what started happening. And I just quickly realized that what we needed to do was we need all of these pieces working at the same time to really find success. Back then we were a little over 3 million. We're on target to do about 20 million this year. We just added plumbing, and it's been exhilarating. And then in 2018, I won Service Nation Woman of the Year. And I don't know, I still to this day, you know, I have the funniest story. I'll be really quick. We were getting ready to fly home from Vegas to Texas. And so I was like, you know what? I try to dress professionally, but I was like, you know what? We're having to cut out a little early to catch a flight. I'm just going to wear like my, like some tights and a t-shirt and like pull my McWilliamson sweater over the top, and I'll be fine. And I'll sit at the back and I'll take my luggage in there. So my brother comes up to me and he's like, go change your clothes. So I was like, what? He's like, just trust me. I think we're winning some kind of award. Go change your clothes. So I literally had to go to the bathroom in the expo center and put on like, you know, business, and I'm in a stall trying to get dressed.
Right.
And I go sit down, and literally they're like calling, and they're like, and I was just waiting on like the business awards, and they're like Woman of the Year. And I was like, oh, it's hard to catch me off. And so I was like, you knew all along. Thank you for not letting me accept this award in leggings. I would have been so embarrassed, but it really put me in front of some great people, like sitting at those round tables. I wish more contractors could really understand the value of networking with other people in your same market. You know, you're the sum of the 5 closest people to you, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you look up, if you're the most successful one in that group, it's time to change groups.
Boy, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. And so
and sometimes
really
we like that feeling though. It's like, hey, I'm the most successful.
Yes.
Like everybody look at me. And so I think we get stuck in that too much, and it's pride.
Yes.
You know, oh, look at me. But to your point, we're not growing, we're stagnant. That's such a great story. And I love the backstory, and congratulations. It was well-deserved in 2018.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well-deserved. Crystal, I'd like to talk about some really tangible things for contractors when it comes to marketing right now.
Okay.
Are you seeing anything? I know there's not a silver bullet. We all want the silver bullet. We want the magic shot, right? How can all the marketing work in our company? But are you seeing any new trends that you could talk about? For example, it seems like contractors are finding more leads, new customers here, or it like what?
Sure. So
what's new in marketing?
Yeah. So one thing that I really wanted to say on there is, do you know how many times people call me and say, like, what can I turn on to get leads right now? And I'll say, well, so if we ran a boutique that had like really cute clothes and earrings that I could throw up a live video and say, buy now, but no one wakes up like today and goes, I can't wait to buy a new heating and air conditioning system today. It's exactly what I want to spend my money on. Or I can't wait to have to repipe my whole house. Please let that, that's not what happens. And so the immediacy in heating and air conditioning and plumbing marketing is extremely hard. By the time we realize we need leads, we're about 120 days out from leads. And so I do think there's a silver bullet, but that silver bullet is not what people want to hear because it's hard. And that's consistency. And but as far as trends go right now, we're seeing people have massive success with just running well-oiled machines when it comes to Google local service ads. They are performing. If you take care of those ads and baby them along, they perform well. People are asking me like, why can't I get more leads on Google Local Services? A lot of times it's because you're not in that dashboard working it daily. And one of the biggest misconceptions that I see when it comes to Google Local Services, whatever people want to call it today, it has an identity crisis every so often, but for the most part, being a Google Local Contractor is really getting in there and getting those verified reviews. So once our contractors kind of get rolling with those verified reviews and Google Local Services, you're disputing leads, you're taking care of those leads, you're making the most of them, you will gradually see yourself kind of increase there. And there's so many misconceptions about it. So that I would say social media marketing. So that's the paid ad side of social media. If you're willing to invest the right amount of money, it would work well for you. Email marketing, when done intentionally and correctly and consistently, again, there's that word. We're seeing good movement on that as well. And so I say this all the time. I really think people are looking for like this secret that's buried deep in the sea that I somehow have uncovered, I wish I could just take contractors and just look them in their face and like, you want to just grab a hold of your kid's face sometimes and I really want to take them and say, if you'll calm down, just calm down and just get a strategy. So many contractors are just taking all of these marketing things like, well, somebody told me I should do social media, so I'm going to try it. Somebody told me I should do texting, all these big texting platforms. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but if you don't have a strategy, it's like, I don't know. I used this example earlier today because all of my lemon seed team is here. I just hired my 18th employee, which is scary to me, but exciting at the same time. But I bring them all into our office here in East Texas once a quarter, and we're training. And so today I was training them and I was talking to them about, why consistency is so important, making sure that we're providing that, but also knowing the strategy. So if I'm training for a marathon, which anybody that sees me, I ain't running no marathon. But if you were to train for a marathon, there's a way to train for a marathon. You wouldn't go start, weightlifting to build muscle mass to be planning for a marathon. Right. And so how you train and how you go about things, it needs to be indicative of what your end game is.
Yeah.
And so many times contractors are training for something that they really don't know what they're training for. They're just throwing money literally at a wall to see what sticks because somebody in some social media group or some best practice group or some forum said, well, I don't know about you, but I was spending I did billboards all over my market and boom, I grew by, 180%. I'm like, no, sir, there is a lot more to that than just those factors. And so I think we're seeing the most success with clients that have chosen a strategy and we've stuck to it and we've been consistent and we've dialed it up. So gradually, as we approach the spring season, we're dialing it up. We'll hit a plateau that we balance out during the summer. And then we dial it back up for the fall. And, Danielle, you live this life too. Every contractor in every market is very different. Some people have no trouble recruiting. Some people can't recruit to save their lives. Some people have no trouble getting equipment. Some people just have a bare warehouse. It's a wide range all over. But if I had to say, it's the contractors that have set a plan and stuck to it that are seeing the most success. And that's with basic things.
Very helpful and very wise. And it's not just contractors, it's businesses, small businesses, medium businesses, large businesses, right? All of us. What you're saying is that silver bullet is consistency. But the word try that you use, I know we're all guilty of it. Oh, so-and-so is doing this. I'm going to try that too. We try it. And I really feel, Crystal, we try it because we're trying to solve a pain, whether that pain is the phone's not ringing today, or the pain is, it could be that I need more technicians, but I'm going to try this ad and I'm going to try to hire. I'm going to try to do this in the market and to get more leads. And we don't step back for a minute and think through the strategy part before that. And so many of us are doers, especially in these industries and in the home services, we are doers. We fix things. We jump right in there and we figure it out. And I never read an instruction manual like you will not see me read.
We'll figure it out. Well, and I'm an analogy person because analogies just
Mhm.
resonate with me. I use this example too because I've done a talk before. I did a solo podcast on basically on marketing versus advertising and how
Mm,
people like to use the words interchangeably and they're really not.
right.
And so like I could totally get on my soapbox about it, but I use this analogy all the time. You know, you build it, you bake a cake, but it's
Mhm,
made of the same ingredients.
mhm,
And most of the time, if you can just keep those ingredients the same and the controlled factors the same,
mhm.
you can always add icing to the top and you can change the icing. You can make a vanilla cake and you can put
Yeah.
chocolate icing, strawberry icing. So I'm fine trying the new shiny object, but it
Mhm.
shouldn't deviate us on our spend and from our plan. So if you're having a great month and somebody says, you know what, we tried X, I tried X and it worked out really well, then play with this money. Don't play with
Yeah.
your cake mix, right?
Yeah.
Don't mess with your cake mix. Mess with the icing, but not the cake mix, because the
Good
cake
point.
mix is what the best part of. Oh well, now I'm an icing girl, but and it's because like I don't like to take it away from myself. Like I
Yeah.
say this all the time. I'll make a plan at the beginning of the year for McWilliams and Son and for all my clients at Lemon Seed.
Sure.
But it's a guide, right? It's a
Mhm,
guide
mhm.
wire.
Yes.
It's not the end all. It's not
It's
like
not
we
the Ten
can't
Commandments. It can
deviate.
change. Yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
we, as a matter of fact, pivoting, I use these terms all the time. Pivoting, because hashtag friends, you know,
Mhm,
pivot, pivot, pivot. And also I use the term flexibility.
mhm,
And so, and because we have to be fluid with what happens, because
mhm.
I mean, what if another year hits with a bunch of tumultuous things? Like we're not exactly
Yeah.
set up for success right now if you look at the
Mhm.
political environment, right? So
Totally.
we're looking at a lot of things that are factors that we
Mhm,
can't predict. We're not
mhm.
future tellers. Is that a word? Uh, future tellers. I can't
Yeah.
predict the future, you know, but what I can do is come as prepared as possible
Mhm,
and come with a strategy in place. And then as I work and as we dive in and as real things start happening, then I can
mhm,
pivot. But instead, I
mhm.
feel like contractors try to rebuild their whole dream
Right.
based on something that happened on a random Tuesday. Oh my gosh, I got to
Mhm,
restart over. And you're
mhm,
like, no, we don't, we just pivot. We just turn a little bit to the left. That's
mhm.
all we got to do, you know?
Yeah, really
So,
good point. We were at AHR Expo this year, and an Uber driver dropped me off from the hotel to the convention center. And as he dropped me off, he says, I hope that I've earned your 5 stars today, or I hope that you've enjoyed my 5-star service. I'm a 5-star driver, and I hope that I could have earned your 5-star review. And he's the first Uber driver that's ever asked for that. And, we do a lot of coaching and training with scripting and processes. And you had said, I'm not trying to skip back, but one thing you had
no,
said is,
yeah.
like the verified reviews and stuff is really helpful in marketing.
Yep.
But it reminded me of that story. Most people don't ever ask. And so if you're going to
No.
ask for a review, ask for the 5-star review. Hey, Crystal, have I earned your 5-star review today? If not, can I get here? Here's my manager. Can you go ahead and tell them what I can do to make it better?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
a simple script, putting it in there and then training to make sure that you guys do that can get up those reviews. And then that's done for you marketing. That's
Yep.
out there and just marketing, making it a part of the process. And you didn't have to use a whole bunch of brain power to do it.
No.
But
And people want
stepping
to
back
work
for a
with
second.
people. Yeah. And people want to work with people that are successful and
Hmm.
that they feel like, you know, oh, I've got to work with them. Like the reviews for them are great, you know,
Hmm.
and we all
Hmm.
have the crazy, so many contractors. I mean, us included, you get bogged down with the whiners. Some
Yeah.
people are just never happy. Are just never
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
And so you can't go about your business life though
Mhm.
worried about the one or two bad reviews that you're going to get. I'm going to
Mhm.
encourage you. I'm always going to encourage contractors. You need to have a safety net here. What
Yeah.
ifs? Okay, because the what ifs are going to happen, but we cannot build our life around the what ifs.
No, we can't. Risk
Yeah,
assessment every once in a while. What's the risk assessment? If this happened, what would we do or what would happen, right? But to your
right.
point, we don't live by that all the time. I do risk assessments with teams, looking at your organizational chart. Who's at risk? What technician possibly might not be here in 3 months?
Yeah.
Okay. You've given us some really, really, really great gold already that if we can be consistent as business owners, as contractors, that's going to be step one in our marketing. Now, if somebody needed some help and they wanted to call Crystal Williams, what could
Sure.
you do for them?
Sure. So I've been reading the book Duct Tape Marketing, and I was reading it again actually, and I one of the things that I've really struggled with in the past was really putting what Lemon Seed does into words, because I knew what we needed to do. I knew what we were doing for contractors. So I've really worked to perfect that. And so really what we are is the contractor's marketing department. So we battle for the contractor with their particular vendor partners. And so we do a few things in-house, but really we're your consultant, we're your marketing department that is the liaison between you and your vendor partners. And we come in, we help you build out a brand strategy, we help you build out how we're going to allocate your budget. And then we just keep you rolling month to month, and we check in and we just worry with you about, are we hitting our goals? Do we know? I mean, we take on all of our customers, and we will be living life like, oh my gosh, how did we do today? How did we do this month? And it's basically
share all the feels.
We share all the feels. One of my first contractors that came on with Lemon Seed in 2019, when I got this contractor, and he's in the South, he was a little less than 800,000. And we got him up to 2.8, 2.7, and he sold for like 4 times EBITDA. And like, y'all, that was the best day of my life when he called and told me that, because he was one of the first contractors that said, hey, I'm good at running the business. I'm not great at the marketing. Here's my numbers. Can you help me? I built out a plan. We just stuck with each other. Like it was a true partnership, week after week and month after month, of him being risky and taking things. And then to see him grow at such a good profitability. But what he told me on one of our last conversations, when he told me that he was going to actually retire, and I was heartbroken. But he said, Crystal, at a time when I needed somebody to come in and give me guidance, and then be the hands and feet of the company. And he said, I just felt so at ease and I did it. He said, it was one of the best decisions I ever made for my business. And he said, when I got bought, they were like, what do you think, what's made you so, grow so quickly? And he's like, trust in that gal in Texas. And so that was like the best compliment. But you know what my goal is, Danielle, really, my goal is to work with people that are good business owners that want to provide a solid place of employment in their market, that want to help their own team members grow, that are looking to build generational wealth for their own families. And they just need somebody to come alongside of them and put into action their dreams, their hopes for their marketing, but give them solid advice, solid coaching, and just help them stay on top of their marketing. And that's what we're here for. So Lemon Seed, oh my gosh, we have designers, social media specialists. We have buyers that help us buy like your direct mail and mass media. And it's always fun, but it's a challenge. And it becomes like family, man. We become like best friends, because we talk to each other almost every week. And so it's a lot of fun, but it's a really good partnership.
Oh, that's incredible. As a business owner, and then being around contractors all my life, and my dad was a contractor, his dad, all my uncles, my brothers, and then being with them all every day, all the time. I know that sometimes business owners, we feel like, hey, I just want somebody else to take care of this for me. But that's not always the case. So what you're outlining here is you guys help. You take the pressure off, you take the load off the shoulders, you manage the timeline so we don't forget all the deadlines. Some of the marketing stuff, it's the busy work of, wait a minute, we want this to go out, so we need to back it up. But it's those timelines. I tell my PR company all the time, I just need you guys to manage the timeline. That's it. I can do the rest. I just need somebody reminding me, Danielle, this needs to happen today. Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Well, and we do
dumb, but it's little.
No. Literally, that's, 90% of what I do is keep people on target. Let me see. I talk to everybody for free. We do a free discovery call to see if we'd be a good fit for each other. And I send a little pre-questionnaire, and the last couple of questions are like, what are you hoping, what are 3 things you'd really like to achieve? And then what is something that you value in a vendor partnership? 9 times out of 10, they're like, I just want somebody to be creative. I want somebody to know about my business, and I want somebody to keep me hitting these deadlines, because all of a sudden, I want to do radio, but I don't have time, or I want to do direct mail, but every time I do it, it's very haphazard and very all over the place, or social media. I just get I'll go strong for a month and then I'm terrible for a month. And that's where Lemon Seed comes in. Like, tell us your vision. We'll give you vision and we'll give you ideas. But what are you hoping to accomplish? And then how can we help you make that happen? And we're the doers, we're the doers, and we're passionate about doing it the way you want it. Yet I'm always trying to push you outside of your box, hey, that sounds great, but what about this? And what about this? And sometimes contractors will say, some of my most favorite ones, they'll pick on me and say, I'm calling you today because I guess I want to spend some more money because I want to do this. And I know you're going to tell me I should do it. And I'm going to say, yes, if you're not, like, I'm here to give you a kick in the rear. Like, let's go. Right. Like, let's get I have 2 teenagers, 12 and 15. And so evidently when I do something cool, they like to go, let's go, mom, let's go. So evidently I need to be saying, let's go more. Like, that must be like the trendy pump up phrase. Like, let's go,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. At first I was like, I don't really know where we're going, but y'all are very excited. But yeah. And something, Danielle, too, so many people have been burned by this different vendor and this different, this guy. And we have fantastic vendor partners.
Yeah.
And you just got to find the right one that meshes with your style, So you might have been burned. Yeah. I want to say you're fine. Get back up, dust yourself off. And in the words of Carter and Ray Williams, let's go, right? Let's go. Let's get moving.
Those are great names, Carter and Ray. You said the word whining earlier, and I know sometimes contractors, business owners, myself, all of us, we might not realize that we're whining. And when it comes to being burned in the past, I hear it all the time. I've already worked with partners. I've already done different pricing companies. Why should we go with you guys? They've burned us. They promised that they would call. They didn't call. Same with service and dispatch software programs. It's everybody in the space, right? It's, well, I've already tried that over here and I got burned. So why should I go over here and try new? It's like, we have to quit whining. I'm sorry that you got burned. I'm sorry it didn't work out. We have to keep trying and moving forward and get that consistency so that we can grow and find more freedom in our businesses. As Crystal's saying, like, I'm sorry, you've been burned in the past with your marketing. At some point, we have to get over that and move forward. We might get burned again, but what happens if we don't?
Yes. And, that's one thing that's very different about Lemon Seed. So, I help you find good vendor partners. So you may be, if you're upset with me, it's a different issue, but for the most part, like, hey, Crystal, I have this web company right now and I'm just not digging it. Like, something's wrong. The first thing I'm going to really do is really look at that partnership in the way that it exists currently, because sometimes we aren't good partners with our vendors.
Great point.
We are very lackadaisical about responding to emails and things like that. Well, then when we're not hitting call count, it's my website company. They're terrible. And I want to say, what?
Good point.
So sometimes I have to step back in and look at it and go, let's look at where you're at first before we start just making a bunch of changes. Or if you can't get started, we're another good place to start. I will tell you that Lemon Seed, we're looking for contractors that are ready to spend money on marketing. Because a lot of people have dabbled in it and they may just not be ready, right? They're just not ready. They're still working on some operations or they're brand new. And we do some coaching, but for the most part, our sweet spot is when somebody's grown their business a little bit and they've got a taste of victory. And now they're like, man, look what I did by myself. I wonder what I could do with some partners. That's when we can get on our horse and like really ride out, because that's when it's time. Like, I tell my kids, stand up, like I said, brush it off. My softball coach used to say, I've had worse on my eyeball, right? So stand up, brush yourself off, and let's find some vendor partners that are going to fit your style.
Yeah.
Let's push ourselves towards some good coaching. Let's get some good business coaching going so that we're priced effectively and we're coaching, we're getting our average tickets up, we're flipping leads over, all the things that makes us over holistically successful.
Right.
And let's go and let's quit whining and thinking that we've tried everything and done everything and nobody's any good. And, you can do it. We can do it.
I totally can. Crystal, I'm yawning, not because of you. I love your content. I could sit here and talk marketing with you all day. It's because my 1-year-old doesn't sleep. And so we get up at 4:30 every morning right now.
Oh,
so
no,
since we're up at, what else do you do at 4:30 in the morning instead of just watching Netflix? I've been YouTubing research stuff. So all sorts of things, anything I want to learn about, leadership, keynote speaking, all this, I'm YouTubing all the videos. So I'm learning a lot at 4:30 in the morning right now.
Bless your heart.
Sometimes they yawn in the afternoon.
I've never been so thankful to have 12 and 15-year-old. Totally. They not only sleep through the night, they'll sleep all the way into the afternoon.
Yeah. I'm like, every night I tell my 1-year-old, you sleep until 6 a.m. You sleep until 6 a.m.
Yes.
He doesn't yet, but someday he will. Okay. So I feel like we have a lot of people in our industry, the majority, that whether or not they're husband and wife, partners, or just still small business, maybe still working in the house, they might not be ready to do a big spend yet on marketing. And it might not be a big spend, but maybe they're not quite there yet.
Sure.
But you want to help get them there so that they can work with somebody like you. So as they're trying, let's say the woman in the office is doing the marketing. So she's dispatching, answering the phones, office management, and she's doing the marketing. I know it can be easy, and I know from experience, to spread ourselves too thin to, like you said, try everything marketing. But the ones that you listed earlier kind of sound like, hey, the plan could start with, let's make sure we're doing this. Let's make sure that we're doing, Google local business, doing the verified reviews. I would definitely suggest let's make sure that we have a script and we ask for those reviews.
Yep.
And
Google My Business.
Google My Business, some email marketing. And here we have just a couple that if you'd put a little bit more energy into those and not try to spread too thin, maybe don't look at the big billboards and the radio ads yet. Would you suggest starting there or?
So, what's really important is your marketing, your advertising tactics will drastically increase in performance when your brand is more relative, more top of mind in your market. So what happens to us is naturally, the marketing funnel, everybody wants to focus at the bottom of the funnel because that's where everybody's ready to make a decision. And so a lot of times people just skip right on to the bottom. And so if I were going to tell contractors where to start is tell me one place that you're consistently putting your brand. And that very well may be your truck wraps. It might be maybe it's the sign on your building, but somewhere you have to be constantly putting your name out in front of people. And so branding, don't sleep on it. Don't forget about it. Don't always jump to the bottom like, oh, I'm just going to spend all my money in PPC. That's not a good strategy. So I want to encourage you to do something to keep your brand out there. Maybe it's organic social media posting. It's one simple billboard with just your logo on it in a really high traffic area near that neighborhood that's 12 years old, right? Let's be super strategic about those things. But the biggest place that I see contractors failing their marketing is online. Not all websites are created equal, friends. SEO, search engine optimization, is so flipping important. Yet so many contractors think, oh, I got a website up. I mean, it's up. Yeah. Well, no one's getting there because we're not. So I would tell you, go look at your digital presence. Where's one place that I can do some branding, social media, small billboard, office sign, truck wrap, something. And then how can I get my website and my SEO and my Google My Business clean, crisp? You ain't gotta. That's my Texas coming out. You don't have to. This is not rocket science. This is just a consistent brand message across those ways. So is your website nice and clean with a good phone number? Can people find me and contact me? And am I optimizing the cities that I really want to grow in? Don't go crazy and start optimizing 12 cities. Pick 2 or 3 that are right and own your backyard. How many times have we heard that in our life? Own your backyard. Your Google My Business, post pictures of your technicians and your offices and your vans and things like that. Just simple, solid things, guys. And you got to give it some time, right? You got to. It's like good fajita meat from HEB here in Texas. The reason that it's so good is because it is marinated for several days, and that's why. So same thing. Your marketing gets sweeter the longer you let it marinate and work. And stick to that consistency. And so, guys, a CSR or an office manager can manage that piece of your business. Let them start working with your website company monthly. Expect that monthly call with your website company and say, this is what I want to make sure of. I just need 20 minutes, an hour every month to say, where are people coming to our website? Does this look good? Are my coupons active? Start there. And then as you see your business start growing, then you start adding on other tactics, but do not forget about branding because eventually when you get ready to drop direct mail and things like that, exponentially perform better with a good brand in the market.
That's great advice. Especially for those that are thinking, should I or should I not wrap my van? Should I or should I not put the money into the sign on the building? I've heard so many people say all of the value they have gotten from putting a digital sign out front or just a beautiful new sign out front. I have a brother who's a contractor here in town in Dalton, Georgia. And so he, about a year ago, put a new road sign, and he moved his office location because of all the traffic. But he put a new big sign there, and he rotates it every quarter, I think.
Yeah.
And he is booming. So just a couple little things here and there, it has really made the difference. But before that, he didn't really have anything, right? And so taking, like Crystal said, I can't recap that any better. Look at your current branding. And sometimes things need a little facelift, and that's okay. I was at the gym today, and I do a small group work session. So there's a handful of us ladies, and they're all talking about Botox. And I was like, is that even good for you? And all of them already had it. And I'm just like, oh, they said, yeah, you're supposed to start when you're 20, Danielle. I was like, oh. My point is, it's like sometimes when you need a little facelift, you need a little Botox, right? You don't realize that. I didn't know that all the other women already did that. I was like, oh, I'm behind. But it doesn't have to be a whole facelift. My point is, you can have a couple of injections and then there you go, and it's done. But same with your branding, just a couple little. I know you contractors are rolling your eyes at me right now. You're like, we're not doing Botox, Danielle.
Yeah.
But you can do just a little bit. For your branding, it doesn't have to be a whole lot. Take a look at the shirts your guys are wearing, because they're representing you when they go out to lunch and they're in Home Depot and Lowe's every day.
And stop overthinking your branding. You know, so many people like, well, what if I don't have a snowflake? How will they know that I do air conditioning? Well, your name being such and such heating and air is probably the first sign. Yeah. And so people just get real in their head. We get real in, I say we, because we all do it. We get in our head because you live your brand every single day.
Yes.
And so when you get a fresh set of eyes and they start giving you feedback, it's really not meant to be malicious or hateful or mean. It's a lot of times I look at logos and things all day long, every day. And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, you can roll with this. And sometimes I'm like, is this what you want to be known as? And it's a hard thing to tell contractors, but it's also, I know it's hard because it's your baby.
Yes.
Nobody wants to call the baby ugly.
No. And so many times because it's our baby, we think everybody has to know every single thing that we do every time they see us. Yes. And they don't. And so, for example, they don't need to see the snowflake in the middle of the opposite season. No. That was a really good point. And I had something to add to it. Oh, yeah. Earlier when you said that this, especially, for example, in HVAC, it's not necessarily something that you can easily market for demand service. Somebody might not be thinking about getting a new HVAC system when they wake up this morning, but what you can market for is comfort. Are you comfortable today? Is your house making you sick? I've seen so much success when contractors start changing that a little bit. And I've seen them, even things like, are you considering new gas logs or something that's not a today immediate repair thing, but let's talk about comfort. Let's talk about clean air. Let's talk about
preventative. Like right now, it's kind of trendy to be like ahead of the game, like hashtag adulting, and so when people are like, yeah, I just had my air conditioner tuned up, like, oh, you're such an adult, but I feel bad sometimes that people think of marketing as like this grand like epiphany that and maybe your advertising campaign that's super kitschy and fun, that may be something really cool, that it should be something really cool, but the strategy behind building a marketing plan is the same strategy that every company uses. And so we just have to be intentional about knowing our strengths and knowing what to market and when to market it. People here in the South, we haven't ever need to sump pump. Right. But in the North, like there's, people need to be checking out their sump pumps and getting alarms. And there's all these things that you're solving a hurt, right? You're solving an issue. And so not always does it have to be specifically to the heating and air. Like you said, like it could be the breathing problems. It can be the maintenance issue. It can be all kinds of, insulation, high energy bills, high water bill. I don't know where the water shutoff valve is, or I bought an old house. So what can you offer during these times that make people go, I need that, and it's not a lot of things. Don't get me wrong. It's still not sexy. It's still not, but it's not also unheard of. Another thing that contractors really could probably get better at is their existing customer database and mining that for what's
totally
there.
Agree. Yep.
And it takes intentionality. Like you've got to be intentional about how you are going to reach out to those to those customer partners, because you don't want to overdo it. So I'll tell you right off the bat, I recommend, if you're going to do emails, a simple monthly email is plenty. It's plenty. It's nice and easy and simple, and you can preset it. You can work a month in advance, but quarterly, I like to make an intentional effort to get more business from my customer base. And so that just requires a little planning. What can I do in Q1 and Q2 and Q3? And it doesn't have to be mail. It could be an outbound call campaign. It could be a texting campaign. It could be maybe you upgrade your email campaign, right? So, but again, consistency and planning is where so much of our heartache comes from, because you had really good intentions about emailing out everyone for Thanksgiving and doing this whole, like the whole month of November, we're giving thanks for our customers, but you don't think about it until like November 22nd.
Yes.
And you're like, I should have done it. So then you go, okay, next year I'm going to do this. And then what happens is next year you remember on November 12th. Still not enough time, So just sitting down for a minute, for those of you that maybe aren't ready to bring on a team like Lemon Seed to help you get organized, just literally print off a calendar for the next month and write on it what you are going to do. And it sounds so easy, and I know it's not, but if you force yourself into the process of stopping and going, okay, do I have my IAQ turned on? Do does my website company know I do IAQ? Let me make there, am I ready for chats? Am I ready for the call volume that should be increasing because summertime is coming? Am I ready? So just,
Crystal, I have a really cool, that's true. I have a really cool marketing calendar. If anybody listening today would like it, shoot me an email or call us afterwards and I'll physically mail it to you. It's a marketing calendar that I put in place for this, like Crystal's saying, is we realize something way too late. And so it prompts you 2 months ahead of time to start doing your self-marketing. Then it also has a matrix of, hey, I should do this, and helps you start generating those ideas. Yeah. But it's a physical calendar you can put on your desk or assign it to somebody in your office, but shoot me an email or call and I'll send that to you.
That's awesome.
I found it helpful. But then let's say you already are at that level and you're not the newbie so much of just dabbling in marketing. You're really ready to take some of that weight off your shoulders and to pass it over to Crystal. Everything that she said today really is awesome. Wouldn't that be great to be able to partner with her and her team to say, okay, great. You guys manage the timeline, manage the relationships. I'll help with some content and some ideas, but then you guys take it to the next level. I'd like you to, really just want to encourage you to reach out. How should they do a demo? Do they call you?
Yeah. So it's 1000% no obligation demo for us. We jump on a discovery call. That's what we call it. My sister, works with me. Her name's Tiffany. She manages like all of our new client request conversations. But basically she sends you a little pre-form, and all it is it lets me look at your business before you and I talk for the first time, just so we can talk apples to apples. And so it's a quick little form that just asks some basic questions, but then that discovery process is completely free. I want you to get to know me, or I just brought on she's been an account manager. She's actually moving into a role of more onboarding clients. She and I both are the strategists behind it. But we just basically interview each other, if you will, like, is what you're offering, is what we are offering what you need? And do we feel like, based off our past experiences, that you are a good fit for how Lemon Seed is structured? Not all of us are meant for each other, and that's fine. We also are territory specific in some cases. And so we make sure that we're even eligible to work together. But it's really it's about an hour that we leave on there for you to kind of talk, like, these are my pain points, for us to talk about how are we priced? How does it work? And what do we say? And how do we do it? And just see if we're a good fit for each other. 1000%, no obligation. After that, you would move into a different piece of like what direction. Are you looking at full service? Are you looking at a coaching package? Which one fits you better? But so it's real easy. It's hello@lemonseedmarketing.com. Just shoot an email to hello@lemonseedmarketing.com. Just say, hey, this is where I'm at. I'd love to visit with someone about what you guys do. And Tiffany will get you all set up on with that form. She then sends you a quick link so you can choose a time that works for you and whomever in your business you want to be on the call. We do it via Zoom. Everybody's so used to Zoom now.
Totally.
Unless you're close enough to me, which would be fun too. But again, it's really interviewing each other and seeing how we work together. I'm just here to provide solutions for contractors that need a marketing company, a marketing department. So way more than just websites or just branding. It's really the holistic approach. So I'd love to visit. But our website, lemonseedmarketing.com, our podcast, From the Yellow Chair.com. So lots of ways to kind of hear about us. Follow us on social. If you're not ready yet to talk to us, maybe you're trying to figure us out. But I'd love to visit with anybody. And I'll be at a couple of shows. So if you see us there, please come up and visit. I love to talk shop. I love to talk marketing, if you can't tell. Friends and family talk free. So tell me you heard me on Danielle's shop and we'll have to just visit and grab coffee or something. So
friends and family talk free. Very nice. So I know Crystal and I will both be at Barefoot Roundtable coming up in April. But then Crystal does go to a lot of shows. So definitely reach out to her. And they have those really cool yellow blazers. You cannot miss her team.
They do. They love the yellow blazers. They're coming around to them. So yellow is not everybody's favorite color, but when you work here, it shall become your favorite color.
They've tried for a long time to get me to wear that new flat rate lime green. And I'm like, nope, sorry, can't do it.
Well, I am yellow. Like my skin is very pale. And so I put that yellow on and I'm like, I stand out, but that's fine because I live it. I love it. Lemon everything. So
yes, it's your baby. Well, Crystal, thank you so much. I definitely wrote down some new hashtags. Trade baby hashtag. Did not know about that one. Or pivot hashtag and adulting. I mean, I guess I've been missing out on all the cool things. But beyond that, thank you so much for all the wisdom and just educational information that you've shared with us today. It's exciting to be able to market your business. It's exciting to be able to see marketing's awesome because you can do something and get a tangible result. It either worked or it didn't. You get to tweak and test and play with it. And we're always ramping up and learning more about marketing. So
yes, and it's a privilege for us to get to work with some of these powerful contractors. And so we truly honor any relationship and are so thankful for it. And so I look forward to talking with anybody that would love to visit. But thank you for letting me talk. Anybody that'll let me talk about marketing, I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, you're great at it. We're really excited to have you on the show today. So thank you, Crystal, for being here.
No problem. Thank you. Bye.
See ya.
And now for story time with Stephen Washington.
My question would be, do you want to change your culture? Do you want to get held down by one service tech? That one tech, man, he can fix anything. He can do this. He's Superman, but stabs himself with kryptonite all the time because he's that negative. Who wants to be held hostage by someone like that? There's service techs out there who's looking for that culture, who's looking for where to go. And one thing the new flat rate helps is it helps bring that great culture there to help because it brings the culture and it follows everything behind it. Man, this is a good place to work. But man, now I'm making money. But with the new flat rate, it can create a great culture. Guys can make money. They can be successful. They can have even more happier lives. And they can find that balance. It provides them with a sturdy foundation that, anything in life they'll really be able to do. If they want to be a service manager, lead technician, a salesperson, own their own company one day. The sky is literally the limit with them when they do the new flat rate.
If you would like to learn more about Lemon Seed Marketing and what they could do for your business, visit their website at lemonseedmarketing.com. Thanks so much for listening. Have a platinum day.